Hi guys, this video is in response to some questions by Crosby's Corner about smoking a pipe that were raised in one of the VRs that I recently did. But first, the housework. I'm smoking a Cobbett again, and I've got Samuel Gawith's 2013 limited edition, which I won at the Nottingham Pipe Show. A very nice aged smoke. The first question that you asked me was about the breath method. It sounds easier than it is, and it is quite easy. It's a matter of breathing in and out through your nose with the pipe in your mouth. But occasion you take sips from your pipe as you're doing it. No deep sort of sucking in, but as you're breathing in through your nose or out, you can sort of just adjust your mouth and take in some smoke into your mouth, just a little amount. And what I tend to do is either let it out of the corner of my mouth or back down the stem, which keeps the tobacco alight in the pot. I'll try and show you. As you can see, there's not a lot of smoke coming out of my mouth, but you do get the taste on your tongue. The tobacco lasts longer, it's much cooler, and I find it very meditative when I'm smoking in that way. You know, occasionally I'll sort of sit there with the pipe on my chest and allow my thoughts to run away with me. The other question you asked was about the pipe sweating. And what happens usually is that the hot smoke condenses and the wetness comes from that, the condensation. Occasionally, if you're if you have a lot of saliva in your mouth, that will go down the stem and come back up. The best thing to do is always to have a pipe clean handy and just stick it down the pipe as soon as it happens. As soon as I feel that happening, I don't take it into my mouth. I immediately put it back down the stem and then dry the stem out with a pipe cleaner. It's something that really happens, I think, to all of us at some time or another. Occasionally I'll put a pipe cleaner down before it happens if I hear gurgling at the bottom of the pipe, or if I feel that the pipe's beginning to fill up. What I also use are these by NORDING. They're little pieces of volcanic rock, and you put 5 or 6 in the bottom of your pipe before you put your tobacco in. The good thing about that is that it can absorb that liquid. So if I hear my pipe gurgling, I'll just blow back through it. And it will be absorbed by the volcanic rock. At the moment, I don't know that many people use it, but I think soon it will become an integral part of pipe smoking, because it always leaves your pipe clear at the entry where the breathing hole goes in. So you've always got an easier draw on it. And if you've packed it too tight, it will still smoke. If I've done that and it's either wet or too tight, then I'll just poke it down with the spiky part of my tamper, just to break up the crust. Now, I haven't put any in this pipe for some reason. I think because I was thinking about just getting it done rather than about the smoke. With a cigar, you're trying to get in as much smoke into the mouth as possible, I think. And, bringing it down the nose, retrohaling occasionally. Whereas in the pipe, you don't need that great amount of smoke to get the taste. In fact, sometimes the flavours come out more if you're just sipping the smoke. Certainly it tends to build up on the tongue, so that when you finish smoking, you can still get that aftertaste. I mean, some of the other things that I try not to do, I'll have it in my teeth, but I won't clench it, because I don't want to mark the pipe too much. But what I use, instead of using softy bits, is I use heat shrinkable tubing. And you can get some that will go on each of your stems, no matter how broad they are, and that kind of thing. And all you do is put it on and just heat it up with a flame or with a hairdryer, something like that, and it will shrink tight onto the stem and protect the stem from teeth chatter. So if you're a particularly strong clencher, then that helps immensely. I might do a video sometime showing how easy it is to sort of attach them. The reason I don't use softy bits much is because they're too bloody expensive. I've seen people use other tubing, like fish tank tubing, but for me that's too thick. I like to be able to feel the stem, and it's easily changed if it gets gungy or if tar begins to build up on it. I'm sorry, this keeps going out because I'm talking too much. The other important thing that I think I've found out when I'm smoking is to allow stuff to dry out. Tobacco sometimes is a lot better if it's allowed to dry and isn't too wet. And the way I decide that is by pinching the tobacco with my fingers. And if it holds together in a lump, then I will tend to allow it to dry for a little bit until it begins to fall apart when you pinch it. And also, there's ways of loading flake if you're having trouble with it. One of the best ways that I've seen is to when you fold the flake in half, is to pinch a bit off it and put it down beside you, on a firm surface. Then fold the flake up into like a tube and then twist it so that the fibres are broken within the tube, but then put the tube straight in and break up this tobacco and put it on top and then smoke, and you're virtually guaranteed to smoke the whole pipe full without needing to relight. Again, I might try and show that in a video. The other thing that I've learnt too late, or very late really, is to keep my pipe scrupulously clean. Every new pipe I have now, I clean after each day's smoking, or if I only smoke it once, when it's cooled down, I'll clean it. And as I said in a reply to a question on my comments, I also use alcohol. Oh, well, never mind. I've got a half a bottle of rum that I use, and I dip after I've cleaned the pipe, I make sure that there's absolutely nothing on the pipe cleaner when I bring it out, so if it's dirty, I'll discard it, use another one until it's completely clean. The bowl, I'll use a kitchen towel to make sure that the bowl's clean. On a cob pipe, you don't need to build up a crust anyway. But it doesn't stop the crust building up on a normal pipe. But it does help to keep the bowl cleaner. When I'm sure that the pipe's clean, then I will dip a pipe cleaner in the alcohol and make sure I get a lot around the mouth of the stem, but also going down and into the pipe itself. Doesn't do any damage, and it doesn't make the tobacco taste because you're not using a great deal of alcohol, but it does clean up the pipe and it makes it sweeter, which I think is very important. And plus the fact your pipes last longer. I've got a habit of burning the top of my pipes there. That's bad lighting really on my part. So I'm trying to be very careful on new pipes that I've got. And I used to use a lot of estate pipes, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I haven't restored them enough properly. I've gradually learned how to restore them and how to gouge them out, to take out the build up inside, so it's almost bare wood. I know a lot of people would say, well, that's silly, because you then have to season the pipe again. But I do, because then I've got complete control over that pipe. And the same with cleaning it. I will make sure that it's as clean as I can possibly get it. Even if I have to do 5 or 6 salt treatments. And if you know what that is, you fill the pipe with with kosher salt, which doesn't have any additives to it, to stop the salt from sticking together and that kind of thing, and has no iodine in it. And you fill the pipe with you fill that part of the stem so that it stood like that in maybe an egg cup or something, and then fill it with alcohol, both bits, Or if you can't get salt in there, then a pipe cleaner folded up and put in with alcohol on it. And the salt will gradually draw out all the muck and gunge in the pipe. I've never felt the need to keep separate pipes for different tobaccos. I know people do. The reason I don't is because I can never remember which pipe I've dedicated to what tobacco. And I'm not that good at realising which tobacco is which. So I use my pipes just to smoke what I'm smoking at the time. And that way I can go through the rotation without any problems at all. And I try over the month to use all my pipes, even ones that I don't particularly appreciate as much as I should. But I still have my favourite pipes that I go to. You know, and you'll often see me smoking a cob, especially at this time of night. I'm going to stop soon because I'm probably boring you to death. But I really do believe that smoking's an art and that we learn the art. The breath method, once you've learnt it, is very easy to do and very effective at slowing you down. I used to over-smoke, you know, especially with Virginias or that kind of thing. It used to burn my tongue. I very, very rarely get tongue burn now. I'm not going to say I don't, because that's, you know, the disaster sort of thing. It's like saying, come and bite me. And what I want to do is to do more of my own blends of tobacco. Tim, my son, has done 2 or 3 of his own blends. The only one I've done is Hobbit's weed at the moment. But I want to start blending and seeing what happens. That way I get to learn more about the individual characteristics and what difference they make to a pipe and to a smoke. But if there are any newbies watching, the best bit of advice I can give you is take it slowly. Don't fall into the trap straight away of buying tons of different types of tobacco. And don't fall into the trap of buying very expensive pipes unless you can afford it. And the same with tobacco. You know, my granddad smoked the same blend of tobacco for most of his life. The only time he changed the blend was occasionally if he wanted a change, but he only had 2 or 3 blends at the most. He'd buy one, maybe a different blend if he couldn't get his own blend. And the other time that he got a different blend is when they exchanged tobacco in the pub, you know, and gave each other sort of take a fill of your, you know, fill your pipe as a social thing. If anybody has any other questions, you know, about either smoking a pipe or about rehydrating tobacco or looking after tobacco, then ask. But I am not an expert. I really aren't. There are far better people in the community who will be able to tell you far more about individual tobaccos and that kind of thing. The Unicorn Piper, for example, and one or two others are very, very good at knowing what's what. Again, filling the pipe is worth knowing. You don't have to fill it tight. Yeah, you'll smoke through it quickly, but then just fill it up again. You fill it tight enough to be able to smoke it and for it to be smoked long enough. And there are all sorts of methods about filling the pipe. But once you get used to it, you won't bother with those methods. You'll know automatically, as you're putting tobacco in and that, exactly what you're doing. And occasionally you get it wrong, but that's part of the fun. The main thing about pipe smoking is do what you enjoy. Do it your way. And if you've got problems with it, then just ask somebody, and they might be able to give you a tip on how to stop it or change it or help with it. This community is a great place. There are some wonderful people here. And, old fogies like me learn a lot from young people, from the variety in the community. I only started smoking my pipe in June, July, I think, when I joined this community and when I started putting up videos. I'm going to stop there. May God, your God, go with you, and may you be richly blessed and have a fantastic Christmas.